So Loki episode 5, the penultimate episode. It was a fun one. All the Lokis. This video will contain spoilers for Loki episode 5 since I'm going to be going through my thoughts from the episode and then predicting what is going to happen in episode 6, the last episode. Now, onto my thoughts. Loki was sent to the Void, which I was right about mostly, except for the fact that I said it was a different dimension, but it's actually the end of time, which also makes sense. But I was right that it is the place where the TVA sends everything that it prunes. I didn't predict Goliath, though. That's a good way to ensure that nothing ever returns. I wasn't expecting Ravonna and Sylvie to team up. Oh wait, nope! She was just stalling for time. Once the Minutemen showed up, I totally saw Sylvie's self-pruning coming. I love all of the different variants in this episode. Are you telling me that Kid Loki killed Thor? His and Classic Loki's characters are totally the opposite of what I would have expected. Like, I thought that he was gonna be the sweet type and Classic Loki was gonna be the ruthless type. Speaking of Classic Loki, he totally killed it. I loved his backstory. Like, Loki didn't survive an Infinity War, but this is what would have happened if he had. And he's so powerful too. Like, at the end when he totally just creates this illusion of the entirety of Asgard. Crazy. And then there's even more Lokis, like President Loki, although he's kind of terrible. I was totally confused about what happened when Sylvie touched that wisp of Goliath until near the end when she explained it. Oh, so she was like connecting with Goliath's consciousness through enchantment. Mobius is alive! Yay! My very favorite part of the episode was when Loki was totally embarrassed because all of the other versions of himself were like betraying each other. Oh good, Sylvie and Mobius find Loki. I love her reaction to Loki's plan to kill Goliath.
Sorry, come again. Kill it?
Yes, we're gonna kill Goliath.
Oh my god, that was your plan.
So that's what happened to B-15. She's so spicy to Ravonna, I love it. So apparently Ravonna is trying to find out who's behind the TVA too. Does that make her good? Nah, she cares more about maintaining order than about revealing the truth to the TVA workers. She's kind of like Umbridge, not the big bad or in cahoots with the big bad, but a bad guy nonetheless. Is it me, or did Miss Minute seem a little sus this episode? I know in my last video I totally blew off the theory that she could be behind the TVA, but maybe? Probably not. But is there more to her than there seems? Okay, is Alligator Loki like really a Loki? How? Like, it's pretty clear throughout the episode, yes, Alligator Loki is a Loki, but then Classic Loki's only evidence for it is that he's green? What? The blanket scene was weird, it totally dragged on, and I still don't know how I feel about the romantic undertones between Sylvie and Loki. But Loki hugged Mobius. Aww. I like how in the end Sylvie needs Loki's help to enchant Goliath, and I also like the detail that when he does try, it takes him a while for even the green glow of his magic to appear. And then Classic Loki dies. It's so sad. But he did meet a pretty great end. A castle? Why did I just sound like Mickey Mouse? Who the heck is in the castle? Dang it, I really thought they were going to reveal who was behind the TVA this episode. But they didn't. So now we are on to predictions for episode 6. I'm just going to make general predictions about what's going to happen instead of like the answering top questions from the last episode that I've done the past couple times, because in my last video I answered 3 main top questions and only one of them was answered so far. So 2 of those are still totally relevant and I still totally agree with my answers from last video. So if you want to know my thoughts regarding what was Sylvie's Nexus event and who is really behind the TVA, check out that video, click the card. Coming off of this episode, the biggest question is still who is really behind the TVA, and I'm gonna go with what I said last week, that the top 2 possibilities are King the Conqueror and another variant of Loki, and I don't really have anything more to add to that this week. So let's go ahead and get to other predictions for this coming episode. My greatest resource for all of these predictions was the trailers on the Marvel Entertainment YouTube channel. I sifted through 34 minutes of trailers, featurettes, special features, and exclusive clips in order to find all of the clips that have not been yet in the show in episodes 1 through 5, because if they're not in episodes 1 through 5, they're gonna either be in episode 6 or deleted scenes. Once I cut out all of the stuff that we've seen before, the 34 minutes became 45 seconds, and that included duplicate clips. So really, it was only 15 clips that we have not seen before in the show, and I found the best copy of each one, and I'm gonna go through each of those with you. First, we've got this one where there is a ring of light around a funky donut-shaped rock. Kinda looks like a fish, actually, you know, like Gil from Finding Nemo? Anyway, we briefly saw this rock in the last episode when Sylvie touched that wisp of Goliath, and then it zoomed up on the rock and then zoomed in on the castle. If you look closely, the castle is on top of the rock and you can see the little orange glow from its tower. I'm guessing that this clip is just gonna set the scene at the beginning of the episode, and that's why I showed it first. What I'm more curious about is that ring of light around the rock. Like, is that the sacred timeline? It would be interesting if the person who was at the center of this was like literally at the center of it, like the universe revolved around them. The other question is that rock the void, or is there a portal that they like opened through Eliath to the rock? Probably that one. But it's still kind of unclear. Here's another clip that's probably just setting the scene at some point. It's zooming out from the Earth and then out of the galaxy and then like showing the whole universe. And then this one looks like some Bifrost or Doctor Who like traveling is going on, and it was actually 2 clips, but I put them together because they look pretty similar. I'm not sure if this is gonna like set the scene or if it's real traveling, or maybe it's just some fun transition that they used in the trailer that's not even gonna be in the show. And on to the next, and this one was very popular in the trailers. I think I saw it at least 5 times, but did not even notice it until this morning. There is this clip of Loki walking up to the entrance of the castle. And the castle has this interesting effect where it looks like it's got cracks that have light shining through it. I bet this one comes at the beginning of the episode as well, and I also bet that Sylvie's actually in this scene, but she's been cut out because that's actually happened a lot in other clips in the trailers. Then there's also a very similar clip of Loki walking through the inside of the castle, so he gets inside. I mean, we'd expect that. That won't really tell us much more, but there's also this cool behind the scenes clip where you can see like the cameras and stuff filming this scene. It also looks like after they go into the castle, they are going to encounter someone in a library. You can see that in this shot where Sylvie is fighting someone in front of a bookshelf and a fireplace. I wonder how soon in the episode this scene occurs, because in this scene she probably is fighting the big bad, and I do really hope that we get the reveal early on because we didn't get it at the end of the last episode, but also, then what would they fill the rest of the episode with? I don't know. Next, I've got some clips with Mobius. Here, I've got one where he enters what looks like Ravona's office, and I know that the audio is kind of cut off, but I'm pretty sure he says, "I'm back." Then here is another one with him probably only a few seconds later and a bit closer to Ravona, and if you notice, he is carrying a pruning stick, so that's pretty good that he at least has something to defend himself. But then there's a shot of Ravona with the pruning stick, so I bet she grabbed it from him and threatens him with it. But he explains his side of things to her, and she lets him go. I usually don't put too much stock into the voiceovers that you hear during trailers because it's usually completely different lines like spliced together. But this one is paired with a clip that we haven't seen before, so I had to include it, and I'm sorry that there isn't video to go with the audio the whole way through.
This man is chaos.
Maybe we need a little chaos on our side.
So Mobius will explain that the person who's behind the TVA needs to be taken down and that they need Loki and his chaos in order to do so. Here's another shot of Mobius in the TVA, and there's B-15 too, so I bet Mobius is going to free her. This clip is weird though because they've edited over the screen that monitors the sacred timeline with a clip from episode 1, but we know that's not what Mobius and B-15 are watching because B-15 was there. So I bet this comes from the end of the episode when Sylvie and Loki have taken down the person behind the TVA, and Mobius and B-15 watch from the TVA as the sacred timeline splits into a massive multiverse. Then Loki shows up back at the TVA, maybe to finish taking it down. Now, these last few clips are kind of hard to place. There's this one of Loki turning around from a mirror and saying glorious.
Glorious.
And then there's this one where Loki steps down from a throne in what looks like Asgard. And then there's this one, which is probably just a second later, but it's zoomed in more, and you can see that Loki's raised his hands and that there are people surrounding him. At first, I thought that this was proof of another Loki variant, like maybe the one who's behind the TVA. But take a close look at the mirror in that first shot. The reflection doesn't look like the castle we saw at the end of the last episode, and it doesn't look like Asgard. It actually looks kind of like Stark Tower. And in fact, it is Stark Tower. Look at this shot from the very beginning of the first episode when everyone's getting into the elevator. The mirror is just to the left of the elevator. And this can't be from right then when Loki was caught by the Avengers because he's wearing a slightly different outfit. So I bet at the end, when the sacred timeline is no more and the multiverse is allowed to exist, Loki returns to where he was taken by the TVA. Or I guess not exactly where, but just a second before where he was, because he was technically in Mongolia, you know, semantics. And maybe he creates a universe where he can, in fact, rule Asgard. But also, I don't know if I want the show to end that way because, like, it kind of counteracts all the growth growth that Loki's experienced in the show. So maybe it is another variant of Loki, or maybe he's just gone back to live in Asgard and he's not actually on the throne. Either way, we will see tomorrow. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know in the comments what your predictions are for episode 6 of Loki. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed watching, subscribe if you want to see more of my future videos, and check out my last Loki video and my Marvel playlist underneath that. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!